Here's a quick update on what the crypto market is going to do in the next couple of weeks, looking at the astrology to get some cues. Let's go. Hi folks, so I made a video previously where I decoded the entire Bitcoin cycle all the way from 2009 up to now. I'm going to link that below because I also gave some macro predictions on where the current bull run cycle that we're in right now is going to go next and when we can expect it to peak. So make sure to check that out if you didn't see that yet. But here in this video, I'm going to talk about what we can expect for the more immediate term, the next few weeks, the next 1 to 2 months, that sort of time frame, May and June. So let's get into the charts and let's find out. But before we go, I have to still give you the caveat. I have to give you the preamble. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational and entertainment purposes, and it's supposed to supplement your own research. But that being said, have a look at the following charts so we can get some cues on what is likely to happen next in the crypto markets. All right, so when we look at the charts, we see that obviously we are still here in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is the most important thing that happened, for quite a long time now in innovation, in financial development, in financial astrology. And in crypto, it's especially important because crypto is ruled by Uranus. I showed this very extensively in my video on the Bitcoin cycle where I decode the entire cycle. Make sure to check it out. So the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, as predicted, it corresponded with the big explosion of the current cycle, the all-time high. We hit it already in March. Let me just go back to this here a little bit. So you see, when the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction was coming into effect here in March, we had this on March 14th. We already had the all-time high before the cycle halving, leaving a lot of people surprised, but obviously not those who know the astrology. I posted here on this channel about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and predicted already a absolutely shattering a cycle high. I thought it would be in April, already happened 14th of March, but not too far off. And you can see here on the date when this happened, we had the mutual reception here between Jupiter and Venus, right? The lesser and the greater benefic. They're here in mutual reception, and the moon is here as well, transmitting the rays, as we say in astrology. And all of this is hitting this beautiful Uranus-Jupiter conjunction, right? This was in March. And then what happened is that sort of right after this, we started to, shortly after this, we started to move into this dangerous territory, the calamity zone that always happens when you have the Mars-Saturn conjunction constellating in the sky or any hard aspect. But obviously that's most clear when you have the conjunction. And lo and behold, you had the outbreak of war in the Middle East, or let's say the escalation of war. There's war been going on for a long time, but the escalation of wars in the Middle East and the Russia-Ukraine situation got worse too. And just a lot of bad news all around for the security and stability of the global economic system. And that corresponded with crashing markets, which also showed itself in the Bitcoin and crypto markets, which are still quite correlated with traditional markets. Now that's behind us already. We're sort of coming out of this calamity zone and calamity constellation that was strong in April. And what's happening now is that we still have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction here. You can see, so it's still in effect. It's still, we're still going to see a lot happening here, especially because these other planets here are joining as well. So Sun and Venus especially, they're joining into the game and into the play. And they're going to bring their magic and their action to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So when Sun comes here, right, when Sun joins, then you're bringing light into things, right? So we're going to bring light into these innovations. This means that the game-changing innovations, which this particular innovation cycle, Jupiter-Uranus cycle, is going to bring out, they're going to be illuminated. A light will be shown on them by the sun, by the collective consciousness, the attention and awareness of the collective consciousness. That's what it stands for. So we have in the next couple of weeks, a lot of big announcements in AI. We have OpenAI publishing a competitor to Google search. Apple is launching some advanced AI integration in their tablets, and there's a bunch of other big announcements happening in this space. Correspondingly, we can expect for the next couple of weeks, so for the next couple of weeks, meaning we're now in early May, and this should go on until, let's see here, this constellation, we have here the kind of stellium, with Venus in there as well. Obviously, when Venus joins, you're going to have here the greater and the lesser benefic. And remember that last time they were together, we had the all-time high, right? And they're coming together again, right? This time even closer. They're going to be together, and they're close to Uranus, and Uranus rules crypto, right? So this means that over the next couple of weeks, we should see a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of optimism, a lot of good energy, good vibes, right? Going into the direction of crypto. Is that necessarily going to correlate with new all-time highs? We can't say necessarily. Again, the astrology shows you only one side of the story. It shows you what's going to happen in the collective consciousness, right? You need to still supplement this with the fundamentals, with the technicals, and so on and so forth. But that being said, my personal bet, my personal expectation is that these next couple of weeks, we're going to see a big boost in price action as well as in important announcements of innovation, of adoption, and potentially some big buyers, some huge institutional buyers announcing that they're onboarding a huge chunk of crypto assets for their portfolios. And you put these factors together, tells me that we should see a few really nice weeks coming up in the next few weeks in crypto, right? And if we look elsewhere, if we look in the Bitcoin chart, we actually see something quite interesting, which can confirm this as well. And that's here in the Bitcoin chart, the Jupiter-Venus conjunction that's happening in the sky, right? The two benefics, right? Which always brings fortune and generally pleasurable and agreeable things happening. This is activating the Venus here, the natal Venus of Bitcoin. And this is a pattern that I have personally observed to pretty consistently correlate with very positive price action. So my expectation, putting these elements together, is that over the next couple of weeks, we should see a lot of positive price action driven by good news, by the good vibes, and that should mean potentially for us to break through the all-time high barrier, maybe set a new ETH level somewhere around 80, 85, whatever the case may be, obviously depending on the technicals and lots of other factors, where that ends. But I see that as a possible scenario, given the archetypal forces that are in play for the coming time. Right, so looking at some other coins as well, people have asked me if I can do something on coins like Ethereum or Polkadot or whatever the case may be, other altcoins out there, and Dog with Hat and others. And you can do that. You can look into charts for individual coins. Specifically, what you can do is you look at when the Genesis block was minted. That sort of counts as an incorporation date, basically, like the equivalent of an incorporation date when you're looking at the coin. And you can look at other charts as well. You can look at when the white paper was launched if you want something on the ideal sort of nature of this project. You can look at the founders' charts. They're often correlated with what happens to the coin. And you can look at companies. For instance, if you're looking at XRP, you can look at the chart for Ripple Labs, right? Or if you're looking at Cardano, at ADA, you can look at Input Output Hong Kong, which is the company that Charles Hoskinson runs to manage the whole ecosystem and so on and so forth, right? So looking at those charts, you're going to definitely find some interesting insights into what happens with particular given coins. Now, I'm just going to single out two here that I'm just going to give you as well because we're at it and talking about crypto. We can do deep dives in future looking at different coins. What I'm going to share with you today still, so Ethereum, which is not even really an altcoin anymore. It's so big. It has some really interesting activations, which I'm going to show you that are going to mark this coming cycle. This cycle is going to be super important for Ethereum. We're going to see some really big changes. And this, I'm going to show you this in a bit here. It's coming in here. So this year, it starts, right, with this triangle here that you can see with Uranus, that Uranus makes with Jupiter and Saturn. Here, you see this? So the transiting Uranus is in an opposition to Saturn and square to Jupiter and stays there, right, for the entirety of the current cycle from 24 and then all the way into 25, when we're thinking this current bull market might peak. And throughout this entire time, we have this activation here. So Uranus being in opposition to Saturn square Jupiter, this obviously means that some big changes are going to happen with the Ethereum space. So this could mean one of two things. Either this means that Ethereum is going to step up really big and, ETFs being launched for Ethereum and then, the project completely taking off and seeing vast inflows of capital, getting, closing the gap between ETH and Bitcoin. This could be one. Or the second, it could mean, on the flip side, that some of these ETH killers, that they make big strides forward, that there's big roadblocks that happen and ETH loses its place. Now you're going to say, okay, you said two kind of very opposite things, right? But that's what astrology in this case indicates. It just indicates that there's going to be big changes, right? So what will not happen is that nothing happens, right? Because this image or this archetypal signature, it just indicates basically large structural changes, right? Uranus opposite Saturn, it means, overthrow of the systems and the structures, and Jupiter is in there as well, so we can see some big positive news being involved in that as well. My bet would be on the more positive side of things, so, you might want to think of having some exposure to ETH, especially as we're going into the next few months where some ETFs could be announced that could be quite big game changers. Second coin I want to look at very briefly is Pepe. Pepe, we have here for Pepe, which is a really cute kind of meme coin. You shouldn't look too much at meme coins, kids or adults, whatever the case may be, because they're not necessarily the most serious things that exist in the crypto space, but they're working pretty well. They're making a lot of money, especially this cycle been really good. And Pepe looks really strong here, with the Jupiter hitting Venus here, and then everything going into the trine with the moon, which stands for the people, is important for a people project, for a project that really runs on sentiment and emotions, right? And it just looks like a really nice sort of upcoming chart. I don't know if the time is correct here, but it's possible. I mean, the time is correct, but if the location is correct, we don't know. I have London, UK here. But whatever the case may be, well, Pepe looks nice. Again, everything I'm saying here is just astrological research, which serves for you for educational entertainment purposes. Do your own research and all that spiel. If you're interested in other coins, if you're interested in specific narratives, let me know in the comments below, and we can look at those as well. Until the next time, and until then, be blessed and make the right moves. And make sure to not take too many risks. It's better to be safe than sorry sometimes. But anyways, I'm sure you're going to be well and be blessed until the next time.